Davie now, scorching temperatures proved to be way too much for some young campers who were overcome with heat exhaustion. Local 10's JC Birch is there live now. And JC, how many young people are we talking about here?
336 kids at the camp, but we're talking about 14 kids that suffered from the heat exhaustion. You know, Calvin, the situation here was this was supposed to be the last day of junior ROTC camp. They say goodbye to camp. They say hello to mom and dad, but the heat was just too much to bear. So right behind me on these campgrounds, 14 teens suffered heat exhaustion, with 6 being transported to local hospitals. All succumbed to the dehydration, but thankfully they are all going to be okay. Now they're being released to their parents at the hospital, and the chaperones first noticed something was wrong when the teens began to feel faint and dizzy. Those who were suffering from dehydration were told to sit down, drink plenty of water, and medics were called out here to the camp.
We've been out here now since last Sunday. We're breaking up camp today, so the youngsters get pretty anxious to get all their bags together and move around. It was extremely hot. Obviously they weren't drinking enough water, and we started seeing the heat injuries.
Now, the interesting thing here is that for the last 5 days, these high schoolers have been in serious high adventure training. You're talking about rappelling, rope, and obstacle courses. That kind of outdoor activity requires the teens to drink at least 2 canteens of water an hour. And there was only one heat exhaustion problem all week long. But since today was the day to pack your bags, clean out the tents, get ready to go home, what I'm told is that all those teenagers, these were freshmen, sophomore, and juniors, ages 14 to 17, they were so excited to leave that they weren't focusing on drinking that water. So there was the problem. When they're active, they're thinking about the water. When it's time to go home, they forgot about it, and that led to the problems. But thankfully, Calvin and Lori, everybody's going to be okay.
That is great news out there. What rough kids they are. All right, JC Birch live in Davie. Rough and tough.
Delayed police response last week after a group of teens assaulted a man and his fiancée on the 16th Street Mall. The cops who normally patrol that mall weren't there. And tonight, Fox 30 with Denver's Justin Joseph is live to explain why. Justin?
Jeremy, the delay was caused by the people here at Denver's dispatch center. 19 minutes may not sound like a lot, but when you're the victim in the case, it certainly is. In addition, it's also raising questions tonight about whether downtown is safe. 14 minutes. That's how long police acknowledge it took them to offer help to this man. These are images of his battered face shortly after he arrived at the hospital. I got dogpiled and kicked in the head, punched repeatedly.
Last Thursday, he says a group of teens attacked him on the 16th Street Mall, one of Denver's premier tourist stops.
Pretty shaken up by this event, and I'm thankful that my fiancée is not as badly hurt as she could have been.
Radio reports explain some of the delayed response, but not all of it. At 9:19 that night, this call goes over the radio.
In 16th and Arapahoe, complainant got jumped by 5 or 6 males. Party's got a weapon.
Usually the mall is filled with police, but not tonight. Where were they? Listen closely.
I will cover down there. Mall 6 and Mall 25 are going to be headed out to South Federal to serve a ticket. So, I'll be here only all by for a little bit.
Police finally arrive at 9:24, 5 minutes after that first radio call. But then why does the victim say this?
It seemed to me like it was at least 15 minutes before any response.
That's because police say when the victim originally called 911, dispatch waited 9 minutes before calling for help. In a statement, police won't say why, only that they're investigating. That's not acceptable for the man's fiancée.
I couldn't do anything about it, especially in the cop. He was on the phone and the cops still weren't there.
Both she and her husband have serious questions about the safety of the mall and the response from police patrolling it.
Now tonight we did request a copy of the 911 call from the victim. Denver police declined to release that, citing an open investigation and saying they did not believe that it was in the public interest. Reporting live, Justin Joseph, Fox 30.
Okay, so here it was supposed to show 500 per page, gives you an option of that. It's only showing me 200, which means I can't go back further than 15. And I believe that instant on the mall was the 14th and the 13th, I'm not sure. But yeah, and I've never had it, because I've looked at this before and I thought it went back quite a ways. Pretty cool little feature they have though, but again when I go to the halo camera section. Let's see if it's back up, but it was not working. Okay, so here's the halo street camera map. Let's see. Yeah, I did that before. Let's see. Is it going to work for me? I bet it isn't. Error again. It's been doing an error for about the last 10 minutes or so. Well, I mean, since I've tried. So this is 16th Street Mall. At one of the busiest spots, that would be the rock bottom brewery right there. Yeah, it's quite a busy area. Major right behind. Let's see, right here. This is why I don't believe that there are no cops over there. Because right here is the Federal Reserve Building. Exactly right across the street. See, Curtis 16th? Right across the street from where the man was attacked, which would be right here, somewhere, I'm assuming. That's the rock bottom. So right across from the Federal Reserve. Right? The police station itself is 14th and Cherokee. So that would be 2 blocks over. And probably 2 blocks up or down, I'm not sure. So even if there weren't officers in the area, there should be officers. I mean, there's way too many of them. I see them patrolling downtown on their little, military Humvees or whatever the hell they are. All the time when it's looking like this. I mean, look at this. What's that vehicle? That's a cop. This is the middle of the day. What about on a Thursday evening? They wait for the call to come in and then it backs them up when they're out there. But yeah, you should have seen that this was a high priority call. And when that officer received that dispatch, he said, okay, well, 25 and 6 are going to serve a warrant or serve a ticket on federal, so I'll cover them. It's like, no, you don't go serve a ticket or a warrant or whatever that is. You go to the emergency situation that is right by you and take care of it. Unless you want crime to be happening, maybe specific crimes. The slow response is not new, and it's not just Denver, but it is specific crimes. Crimes that have more than one person attacking people. You can almost guarantee when they say teen, what they meant to say was black. The race war is here, and there are more involved than just these thugs. Okay? So be careful, protect yourself, don't go into these areas, and if you do, don't tell, quote, teens anything.
Mitch, who asked us not to reveal his identity, was walking the 16th Street Mall with his fiancée Thursday evening when several suspected teenagers brutally attacked and assaulted them right near the Rock Bottom Brewery.
I had blood in my eyes. I couldn't see very well. At this point, I couldn't even hear very well because my head was just throbbing.
While Mitch tried to get control of the situation, more teens jumped into the fight.
The whole time I was thinking, this is surreal. This can't be happening.
Witnesses say at one point up to a dozen people were punching, kicking, and beating the couple.
We just saw a couple and about 10 to 12 16-year-old kids yelling at each other, going at each other. No idea what they were yelling about.
Nearby, a stranger heard the yelling, jumped in to help stop the attack, but instead was cut in the head with a box cutter. Mitch's fiancée tells us she can't stop reliving the incident.
I hated seeing him being accosted, and I couldn't do anything about it, especially in the car. He was on the phone, and the cops still weren't there.
The
The attack is unwelcome news to Denver's tourism industry, which promotes the mall as family-friendly.
I was wondering where the police were because they're everywhere, but all of a sudden there was none.
Fox 31 spoke to Denver police, which said it took 14 minutes from when the first 911 call was made until officers showed up.
We'll look into it. We're not going to always say that situation, I understand, was a moving situation. We'll look into it. We'll see, did we do everything properly?
While the case remains open, Mitch says he still feels above all else.
At this point, I'm feeling like I've been left out in the cold here.
You really have to feel for Mitch. Now, we asked police, had they made any arrests, and the latest information they have is so far no one has been charged or arrested. Right after the assault, we were out here. They said 5 people have been detained, but we believe the latest information we have is that no one has been arrested, and they're still looking for any information, maybe looking through some of the security cameras that are out here. Mitch, as you saw, was out of the hospital, but he has been through a lot. Yesterday was his 50th birthday. He had canceled plans because of what happened right here on Thursday night. Reporting live and where else but the 16th Street Mall, Mark Meredith, Fox 31, Denver.